Hey, 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 welcome to the Virgo channel. And hey, KJ Taylor, I'm doing a reading for you. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we got to like meet up, because it's just as much of a healing for me as it is for you, because a lot of times when you're starting something new, you don't really know how it's going, so you kind of need to get feedback. You know what I'm talking about. You're a highly sensitive person too. And a highly sensitive person is one that cares a lot. You think deeply and you feel deeply. And that can create a lot of overstimulation where you haven't trusted yourself. And so I wanted to, always be able to channel for you and do the healing work. But you're allowed to ask me questions too, because it is your reading. And I realize that there's just certain things that we find important, but spirit doesn't really find important. What spirit finds important is whether you're a clear conduit so that you can attract the people and situations into your life that so that you can create your own heaven on earth. And so that means when we pull in a relationship that's imbalanced and it triggers us and it plays out within karmic themes, that there are spiritual blocks. And that means when you don't have enough money in your bank account, well, that means that there's spiritual blocks too, because you're not separate from love. And so I always have to channel first because it's about healing. This is actually, is this private between? No, it's actually not private. This is actually done live stream when people win. However, what I can do is go surface and then we can go deeper too. You know what I mean? Just so that I'm proving. See, it's what's best for all involved when it's spiritual law. It's I have to be out here. I have to again display the reading, and it's also other people are going to resonate with your reading too. You're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. But there's going to be certain things that you're like, I don't want that publicized. And so I have to use discernment, obviously, and that's a spiritual gift. However, you can ask me those questions on the side. You have my email. That's the whole point in reaching out to me before. So it's a because this is a shadow reading channel. So we're going to talk about your wounds, but we're also going to talk about what's going to happen within your life. But in order for it to be ethical, I have to be able to give you the healing message because you are actually your own creator of your life. So when we pull in a relationship to us, which I'm feeling like there's been the relationships that just really haven't gone anywhere. And really, there's always a sense of this lacking energy is what I feel with the past relationships. And there's also a sense of where you're trying to find yourself right now. So I'm glad that you are open to getting a spiritual reading because like I said, it's not just about telling you what it is. I have to tell you how you've been blocking yourself from manifesting the experiences that you want. But is there a specific area you would like me to focus on? Otherwise, I'm just going to channel. Okay. Now, if you're new and you're on this channel, know you're a magnet of who and what is supposed to be in your life, what comes to your life. And there's always a message. And also know that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed, flip it, switch it, twist it. Always interpret the message as it best resonates for you because you actually are intuitive. Everybody's intuitive because everyone has a spirit part of self. The spirit part of self is the God part of self. It's made up of unconditional love. We're born perfect. We are of love. Shadows are psychological and emotional blocks, aspects of self that we form that actually prevent us from getting what we want. We wouldn't know what they are, though. That's why we have certain soulmates come into our life. That's why we have certain experiences unfold within our life. So the problem is that when we have trauma and we don't learn, we're going to keep getting those same experiences. It comes out as a karmic theme. It's not with the same people, but it's always, I feel the same fucking way. It's like, and this is what makes a person form a core belief, which is, this is what I believe, this is what I feel. And so, again, there's not a mistake that you're supposed to be here because I feel like you are manifesting. You are in a place of evolving. And again, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You didn't have support. I don't need cards, but Spirit's like, let's just say what it is. You didn't have support, so you're finding support. And that could be support within your unique individuality, the things which you enjoy to do, the things that you like to do. So the card that Spirit, again, look, it's a Joker card. See, I knew it. It was like just channel. But if I ask Spirit, okay, give me a card. It's again, merciless forgiveness. So it's like when we're looking, and that's right. And that's the thing. And so, and the reason why you don't really feel supported and never really have felt supported. And if you look at this card, merciless forgiveness, that's a spiritual block. And it's actually one of the worst blocks that there are, because it does worse damage to us than it does to the person. And so I believe that you as a highly sensitive person, like have gifts and are emotional. So again, manifesting is easy. However, you're not getting full benefit. And there's still blocks within relationships where I feel that you get triggered. So it's not an easy manifest. And so we have to ask what's preventing. And it's like, well, I'm feeling like, again, still the no support. The no support. And you're like, it's that it doesn't change. I only have enough money, only have enough time. It's like, I'm worried. So you're saying, oh, you're draining energy. Because you see, oh, I'm worried. Right? Where is that worried? God says, I'm inside of you as a gift to the Holy Spirit. You can create anything that you want. And you're like, I know that. And then Spirit says, yeah, well, it's again, this is really what's blocking you, the forgiveness. So how does it play out? Well, it winds up playing out within relationships. It doesn't wind up really playing out within like what you're doing. And so you're like, well, I feel like I kind of trigger people. And it's you do, because you are a mirror of people. You're a highly sensitive person. So that's, and you're like, well, why do I have that? It trips me up. And Spirit says, when you do great things, you have to come up across difficult types of relationships. That's why. Well, that's the thing. Unless you see a different outcome of your situation, there's still residue there. So the integration process of seeing yourself different because of whatever the perceived thing was is not healed. Because you're a physical being, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're down here to learn and to manifest. So part of learning is not just, oh, I have awareness and I did talk to the person, but I still see what's happened in my life is still there. So Spirit says, so it hasn't been fully integrated yet, which means that you haven't, the end result should be, I see a different version of myself. And so Spirit's saying, so it's not that you haven't forgiven everyone, but that conditioning those certain things are to do, like those certain things, behaviorisms that are automatic, those certain things that you're like, well, that's just me. And Spirit says, it's not just you. You're like, how? I'm not even going to use my cards. It's from your third eye. From your third eye. It's again, it is blocked, and that's because it's not grounded enough, because you're leaking energy. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, all right, fanatical. It's like, I feel like if that's an association, it would be like, it's like you're losing the passion, the enthusiasm, because you're not seeing enough, which means that you're not challenging yourself enough. And so understand it's an unfoldment process. Like there's a sense where you're holding back. So you have to get real and you have to say, am I giving too much time to people in my life that aren't really giving back to me? Am I giving enough to myself? Do I have the right lifestyle habits? Well, I'm feeling like, again, it's your third eye is only blocked because you're not as grounded. And grounded means, right, that's why. That's why. Because you've been isolated, because I felt like you're only blocked because you're not grounded, and no one would be grounded if they were isolated. Because again, you're that's what it would be. So spirit saying, I feel that you'd be, first of all, a really good writer. You're a good writer, you have a very strong imagination. So there's also things to work on, like your speaking. I feel like as a highly sensitive person, you could get overstimulated. It's to work on yourself while you're in isolation, which I do feel like you've done. However, but then it's to get on different platforms and to share your knowledge, to be, because understand, you feel like you can't do anything. You feel like you're limited, which is a root chakra imbalance, which is why I feel like you manifest, but you're not manifesting at its full capacity because you're like, well, I'm not supported. Goes back to the same thing, which keeps you in a circle, which would make it very difficult to really forgive. Because you're like, yo, I did what I needed to do, but I can only work with what I have. And then God says, but I'm your support. And you're like, what are you talking about? And God says, I'm the universe. I work through you, but I also work through the universe to bring you the people, situations, experiences that change your mind and your heart. You're blocked. You're like, I'm limited. I'm only seeing this path. And God says, I'm the one that makes the way where there is no way for you. That's the problem. And so you have to get rid of that block. And that block is, there's still, I can't forgive because I feel like I'm limited. And God says, you're not limited. You're like, well, why the fuck would you put me in this situation? God says, oh, you see that trigger? Yeah, I see that trigger. I don't like it. And God says, I know that you don't like it, but that's what needs to come out. And it's like, well, you're the one that put me there. And God says, you utilize what's in your environment. It's not going to be perfect. Spirit says it's not supposed to be. Mastery comes in doing. We're all David going up against Goliath. God says, please don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. There's none of that anymore, huh? Because we're getting a little frustrated. Why? So it's impossible to really, truly forgive and let go. Let go and let God. And that's through, again, being like childlike, because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. To quantum jump into the reality that you want means that you are in the vibration that you're supposed to be in, which is unconditional love, which is doing what you love. And you know that you're great with connecting to people. You were great with connecting to me, with your follow through. Most people don't even get that far. They don't follow through. You follow through. You show up. It's like, it's about the passion. So unless you really become and embody your passion for life, it's not going to happen, because you have to become it. 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 What do you mean you slept through? Did you sleep through this whole live stream? Because it'll be, the channel will still be, even if you slept through. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's like you're thinking, oh, I missed out. Oh, but you know what? It doesn't matter, because it wasn't yesterday's time. It wasn't yesterday's time. And it's like, it's okay. You're allowed to make a mistake. You're allowed to oversleep. You're allowed to have your process. It's like, that's what happens when, mistakes happen. If I didn't have other things to do, well, then that would have been my problem. It's like, you need to be able to go with the flow of life, because we don't know what's going to happen, but nothing can stop us. Only we can stop us. That's written. That's written. It's, again, we stop ourselves from, oh, I should have. where Spirit, I looked for your email, and when I couldn't find it, and then I found it, Spirit said, send her an email. Maybe she doesn't want to send an email again, which you might have not. Oh, I missed it. No, I don't want to make the person feel inconvenienced. Oh, it's going to be hard. And Spirit says, like, look how little, like, you're asking. It's like, and that was where the no support comes. And that's why there needs to be forgiveness, because it's like, I wasn't allowed to breathe. I wasn't allowed to figure it out. I wasn't allowed to have my process. So I'm overstimulated. Now I feel trapped. And God says, you're not trapped. It's again, but while you're there, get good lifestyle habits, set yourself up for success, recondition your nervous system, because you can't grow up in that environment and think that you're not going to be overstimulated. It's like authority. And there's a sense of, I'm not good enough on the core. And God says, you are, but that's a condition. It's going to prevent you. Well, it's fucking me. No, it's not you. I don't make that. Well, how the fuck did I get it? We're in this environment. Well, it's like, I forgave. What else? God says, it's not integrated. Well, what does that have to do with anything? God says, it'll make a way where there is no way. Doing things like energy psychology. I can't afford shit. You can't afford $9.99 for a class on Udemy? Really? You know, you could get certified. I can. Who would want me? God says, it takes a mustard seed. I can make it multiply. We're all David going up against Goliath. Please don't do my job. You're not very good at doing my job. You're limited. You drive the bus right into the ditch every time. Let me take the wheel. You again, just do what you love. When the student is ready, the teacher appear. One door opens, the other door doesn't. We and me and you are not meshing together and going with the flow of life, where you can feel like this. I just knew that was going to happen. It was going to be good. How'd you know? I don't know. I just knew that was you. When you said, I'm going to do a reading with this person because I feel like it resonated. And Spirit said, because it did, because you're intuitive, because I'm inside of you. And that is your language. And you're like, how is it my language? And Spirit says, because I raised you. Again, if someone is like, you're not good enough, it's not fast enough, you need to be this way, don't do it this way, do it this way, and you're so overstimulated, it's during those quiet times. So there are a lot of gifts, there are a lot of talents, but you have to work on your first, second, third. So that's all about taking classes, and it's about sharing your information, putting yourself out there, whether it's on social media, whether that's, again, class mastery comes in doing, so that you can make a way where there is no way, because you're not. And in that space, you're sitting here and you're worried, and you're like, of course the imagination is going to go right into the ditch. I'm going to be a fucking cat lady with like 12 cats, and I have allergies, so I really can't be a cat lady. So and I'm not going to be able to afford anything. And I'm going to it's like the worst case scenario. And that's like, no, it's like, instead of where you want to go, what you want to do, making a way where there isn't a way, because you're seeing the universe support you. And the universe is God, right? Exactly. We can't have cats. I have asthma, like, around cats. So, and no bunnies either. We could get a dog though. I like dogs, but again, it's gotta, and that's the whole thing too. When you are creating yourself, it's tailored to you. You're not in charge of who comes to you, right? We like dogs. Dogs are more emotional. Cat is like looking at you like, what the fuck is your problem? And we already are like that. I'm already like that. We can have two bitches in the house. I like a dog. I need a dog, more male energy, with something that's gonna ground my ass, and you would need that too. And that's what it is. It's like, we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to set ourselves up for success. Can't have two crazy people in the house. There's only one, and because the creative person is going to be the more emotional person, and if you didn't have support, we're going to be, again, more particular, especially since we grew up in that environment that we had to use our senses at such a young age instead of our logical thinking. So, but living too much that way creates too much overstimulation, which means that we have to do body mind work. We have to get a better connection to the physical world, the physical body, and the better connection to God. God works through us, God works through the universe because God is the universe, just the energy of unconditional love. So you got to become the that vibration of unconditional love by doing what you love. And does that mean that difficult people don't come into your life? No, they'll come into your life. those people might try and stop you. They may try and make you feel like you can't do it, may feel like you're not enough, may feel like, again, you may trigger a lot of people. But Spirit says it's all part of the path. No one can take what's yours. Stay with your truth. Stay with what you love. Focus on what you love. Connect to people that are like-minded. Create the support because God says, I don't just work through you through gut intuition and knowing. I work through your environment. So friends, people, situations, like-minded, you have to create the roots. There's no roots. You're like, I'm in isolation, but I'm really in isolation because I'm not friends with fucking nobody. And Spirit says we gotta find a happy balance here. And it's like, well, I don't really like anybody. And people are, and Spirit says, well, again, everybody's got fucked up things about themselves because God says you're all born into a fucked up world. So what you do is you join things, right? And that would be a problem. And that's what it feels like. It feels like you're isolated, like I don't know anyone. But when you join things, oh, well, I mean, but I think that it's still good to like go out and explore. It's about because you'll meet people that resonate with the same things that you do when you want to learn something, when you want to feed yourself. You got to give yourself the love that you didn't get, KJ. You got to give yourself the love. That's all about the root chakra. The Spirit saying, see that first chakra. And you're like, I don't even know what the fuck that looks like. And God says, I know. That's why telling you, I'm always giving you support. Even Laura's YouTube channel. I'm even going to use this defective thing to help you evolve into a higher state of consciousness. Because God knows if you followed her around, you'd be like, I just got a fucking reading from this girl. So that's why I'm saying. Well, your blocks are done really when being interactive in life. Why I say that is because, yes, it's about doing shadow work and looking at things. I love you too. I like your energy. You're a true person. And understand you're just like, I feel uncomfortable. I don't want you to create the same thing. Because people can get caught up in, let's do that shadow healing forever. And we can't do that. Hi, Aisha. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just in the middle of a reading. So it's about you, like really, like feeding yourself, like feeding the things which you want to, what you want to see different within your life. So it's like, hey, if you're into energy healing, then to take a few energy healing classes. Look for meetups in London. Look for things and go on Facebook. Look for free events. Look to connect with your community because you want to be able to see yourself differently. Part of healing is seeing yourself differently. I mean, you're in London and you're from Canada. That's a huge difference. You have a completely different environment. So when you have a completely different environment, you're able to really create different things for yourself because you want to create new neurological pathways within your mind. New neurological pathways are what makes a new way where there is no way for you. Remember, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. You have to do the work, the spiritual work. Are you following me? I don't know if you fell off. I don't know. There's some people that are trying to talk to me while I'm doing this live stream. And so like I said, want to still make sure that you're on because it's your reading. Like I said, I'm on live. So if people want to listen to it and they can resonate with it, then that's why I do it that way. But not so that I can interrupt the reading just because they wouldn't want that done to them. That's also a sign of like I need me, where it's like everybody has their turn and everybody's a right to their turn. And what I want to tell you is we don't ask for greatness. Oh yeah, and the advertisement when it comes on, then what happens is it's like, oh, then it cuts out, and it doesn't even really let me know, or maybe it does, but I'm not paying attention. But yeah, so I just did you what did you get out of our reading so far? Did you get you know that you need to join things because it's a root chakra imbalance, but before you really join things, you need to get a better connection to your physical body. And that would be by doing breath work. And you can go on Udemy a lot of times. Udemy is Udemy. I'll write it here so you can in the chat, Udemy, okay? So you do go to a place like that and you can do like breath work, you can do like these other things to help you because when you feel like you're alone, it's natural to get overstimulated. You don't feel safe. It's like you want to get the strongest connection to your body. Then it's about joining things that you resonate with, things that you want to learn, things that intrigue you, things that inspire you. You want to give yourself the love. Again, find yourself. You are able to do that. And the good thing with Udemy is I know that they have a flash sale today, so you can get like a class for $9.99. They have free classes. You don't need to get the most expensive, but it's all about really giving yourself the tools that are going to help you connect well to yourself, to your physical body, and then will help you connect better to the world because it'll help you perceive it. See? And that's why I'm telling you, it's like once you do, there's other healing modalities too. It's about sharing that information. And you might say, I don't feel comfortable. Spirit says no one feels comfortable because no one has their style. Everybody has to have their unique style, and their unique style is an unfoldment process. That's a co creation process because you don't know ahead of time. Only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. So understand, don't get ahead of yourself, but set yourself up for success. Do a daily practice that helps connect you to your physical body, help you deal with stress, journal. I have my Psychic Soul Healing Oracle system. I'm not pitching it. Like, hey, buy it. But I do have my system and it comes with the cards. It teaches you how to do shadow work. It teaches you how to do inner child healing. It helps you to do the exercises that you need because there's a reparenting exercise. There's a reframing exercises. There's clinical exercises that help you to actually do the shadow work so you become aware of it. And then I have my $7.99 a month coaching program that comes with the inner child healing, the shadow healing, the reparenting, and all the spiritual healing modalities. So we do breath work, we do NLP, we do EFT, we do emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is really what you'll see when people have spiritual imbalances. We aren't as emotionally intelligent because there's trauma. And so becoming aware, fully aware of what you're feeling, and then how to integrate those energies are important. And you may say, well, I don't really want to do all that. I don't have time to do all that. You always have time to do it because there's all different times of the day that I offer it. That's number one. Number two, it's also it's like how much love you give yourself. It's how much you invest in yourself. It doesn't need to be a lot. It needs to be consistent though. It needs to be with some direction and some structure so that you really got are able to dive deep and do the healing work that you need to do consistently, because unfortunately healing a lot is all about reconditioning, and reconditioning uh, through being interactive in life. That's really important because you're going to meet people and situations that mold you and also will tell you whether you still are dealing with the same spiritual wound. Be like, okay, well, I'm now in London and the same things are happening that happened back in Canada. Well, it's because you bring you with you. So you're going to have the same experiences. So if you can't get to those, you have to dive deep, is what Spirit is saying. But it's that time to also have a love affair with yourself and give yourself the support, because what you'll know is the people that you meet along the way, the friendships, and you'll meet good friendships. Well, wherever you go next, and even if that goes but means you go back home to Canada, you can be different with a completely different perception. I mean, you can leave England, but you need a plan too. And one way is a lot of times the support that the people that you meet, the people that you meet along the way that help you, but they're not going to help a fly by night. They help people that they really have an emotional connection to, that they really have met. And the only way that that happens is when you invest in yourself. Like I met Joan over here from going to like speaking lessons every Tuesday, and we've been in the class for over 2 years now. And her uncle works for the airline and did da 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 da. Yes, English don't like foreigners. Well, I think that that's also everybody's very fearful. Everyone's very fearful, and I think that it's still like it you still have to invest in yourself, like I said, and over time people tend to soften. It's like that's just the way that it is. That it's like when you feed yourself and do a lot too for yourself and you're getting something out of it, you don't give a fuck whether someone likes you or not. When you're getting what you need, it doesn't matter what's happening in your environment. That poem Footprints is all about that. It's like, how the fuck did I get through that situation? And Spirit says, I carried you. I carried you through your passion for life. You were doing what you love so that you got through it. Was it difficult? Yeah, it was difficult, but you got through it. And that's why I'm saying it's like it still happens. People still are human down at the core of who they are. They've unfortunately probably had a lot of bad experiences with foreigners. And that's what has shaped their perception. And now I feel like everyone's on edge because of what's going on in the world just in general. So your service would be needed. Yeah, like I mean, and that's why I'm saying like you will get carried again, but you want to be carried through your passion. You want to be carried with by people that you have formed a connection to. Again, that have let their guard down. Unfortunately, people think, oh, you're a foreigner, you're from out of town, you're not going to stay here very long. You're here for a certain amount of time, probably going to fuck up our town and then leave. Even though that's not who you are and what you're going to do, it's a lot of projection because of that. But like I said, if you're like, well, I'm stuck here for a certain amount of time, instead of feeling isolated and feel like I'm going to invest in myself. Because let me tell you something, a person, they may be like, I don't like foreigners, but I have 5 people in my class and this bitch is a foreigner and I'm going to give her, like, I'm happy because she's making my class looking full today because now I have 6 people in my class. It's like, so I'm going to give that sick person, you know what I'm saying? It's like perception. Everything's perception. So Spirit's saying, are you looking at things through a distorted perception where everyone's angry because that's what you grew up in? So that's your automatic thing of feeling, oh, I don't really feel strong. And Spirit says it goes back to you not feeling strong. And it goes, and God says, and I can't have that because I live inside of you. So you're not doing me justice. I gave you free will, but if you're going to drive the bus into the ditch, we have to, pay the consequences. And, but you don't need to do it that way. There's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends on what you're doing. And I don't really like what you're doing here. So come on. Like, you're like, well, it's the same thing. It's making me feel like, and God says, yeah, but that's not real. That's you. So we get reconditioned. So we go online and we take some classes to help strengthen our energy. And then we go out and we feed ourselves. And we feed ourselves through joining things that we like, things that we want to learn. And then good, I'm glad. And then what happens is you'll be like, I've been going to like this talking shit now for a year. And Laura said it was going to be, and they're all assholes still. However, I stopped off at the deli on the way home to get something to eat. And everybody, they want to be my best friend now. Now I stop over at that deli every fucking day and I have a good time. And who would have known? Now I'm marrying the owner of the deli. Can you get over this shit? Now I'm one of them. And now they want to be my friend. Fuck them. That's like where Spirit says, no, 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 we don't do that. It's again, you're going to be nice now. It's all about getting back to unconditional love. It's about getting all about unconditional love. I take care of the karma around here. So don't be giving that person stuff in their eggplant, give them, like, and look the other way. It's about turning the other cheek. But if you're full with love, you can do this. You can't do this if you're already coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of lack, which is where you're coming from. You're going to be like, there's not really enough. So fuck them. Like where it's like, well, it kind of gives me a little bit of gratification, and Spirit says, yeah, that's what it means when misery loves company. So it's more about, like I said, you going out and doing those things. Now, do you have any questions? You want to know anything? Because right now it's like, can you meet someone? It's not about meeting someone. I wouldn't meet somebody while you're in this phase because you want to get stronger, because you're a mirror of what comes into your life. So you want to also put things in your life, meaning balance out your life where before someone comes into your life. Otherwise, you're going to give them too much of your time. Again, part of your survival was to feel. And when you feel, it's like you're just going to give to a person to be like, well, I like this person and they're nice and yada, yada, yada. And Spirit says, no. It's like, love yourself first, so that this way you'll know how much to give that person. Because when you're too close up to the picture, you get overstimulated. And when you have feelings for a person and you're going to give too much, you're going to come from a condition and not really what's best for you. And that's why it's bad when people come right into your life and they love bomb you. It's like, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to like, oh wow, like, but only if you're in a desert and haven't gotten anything, do you realize, wait a minute, this person like is offering to marry me and they just met me like an hour ago. You know what I mean? It's like unrealistic, it's grounded, it's all about fantasy and passion. Help sweep you off your feet. And so you're so taken with me. It's all like ego driven. So you don't want that. You can tell the difference between that. And that's why Spirit's saying it's not about relationship right now. It's like you meet people. Well, like that's the thing. You wouldn't like a person like that, but that's how they come on when you are not strong. It's like people see what they can get away with. It's almost natural behavior on their part. So you got to be able to set boundaries. And a lot of times, if you like someone, you can't set the appropriate boundary. because you don't have other things in your life. So it's this person would wind up being your passion, would wind up being where you gave your time to it, or not grown yourself enough is what Spirit's saying. So it's about growing yourself first to get that support, and then everything else will fall into place. You following me? It's like I don't know, there's a delay. I felt like we froze there for a second. I don't know. Okay, good. Now, do you want to know anything before we close out? Because I think I gave you a lot of information there. We got homework. Do you want to know about anything? Listen, last card out. Unlock DNA. What does that mean? When you unlock DNA, you're actually breaking karmic, family karma, ancestral karma, because we do inherit like cancers and stuff like that. That's why they ask you, but it's only 5%. It's only 5%. 95% is the fact that we turn our DNA on and off through our behaviorisms. And what creates our behaviorisms is our thoughts. Epigenetics teaches us that it's our environment that creates our reality, because we form behaviorisms and habits that are in alignment with the same. But unfortunately, we're not growing up the same way our parents grew up. We're not growing up the same way our great, great, great grandparents grew up. We know more. So what Spirit is saying is, you're where you are to change your generational karma. And that you do know on a spiritual level. And that is and we know what that is. It was the word that came out to begin with, which was merciless forgiveness. And that's through creating. And that's why Spirit's saying that you really got to get grounded. You really got to go out and share your talents and gifts, and like take the class, learn, share it, so that you can see it grow. Make a way where there is no way, so that you can see yourself differently. So this way, people that come into your life that are supposed to come into your life, and there's again an energetic vibration that you feel like it's correct. You going with the flow of what it is. And I do believe that the illusion is that we have to leave. I don't believe that you need to leave where you are. I believe that you need to change the way you view where you are and see it from like a higher perspective, which is, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to learn. Listen, this is great. Like, shit, you're from Canada, but you're in London. You can take classes and then go back to Canada and be like, I just learned in London. That's a big fucking deal. That's a big different deal. And that's, I know you said that you want to leave England. However, you say you want to, but you can't. So instead of being in a place of lack, take a class, do something, and then hopefully in the time you can get out, is what I'm saying. Like you're doing something in that time, so that when you go back, you can say, hey, I just got certified when I was in England, or I did this, or I did that, that there's a reason why you're there, is what I'm saying, instead of coming from a place of that, because then you can do that. Right, your family is all gone in Canada. Okay, well, wherever you want to go back to, wherever you want to go. And if you don't even know where you want to go, then Spirit's like, that's another reason why there's not a way that's making a way for you, because of that. Because there's no real direction and there's no roots. And what Spirit is saying is, you don't need that. It's that you are the one that is supposed to be making your roots. And that's through, otherwise you're always going to feel that way wherever you go, is what Spirit is trying to say. And that's really how you would unlock DNA, because it's what you're feeling about you. And that's why I'm saying, well, even though you're in this uncomfortable space, It's like you got to kind of make lemons out of lemonade. And that's by you're going to do your daily practice. So you're going to be different. And then you're also going to do something with your time. So you're not isolated, so that you're feeding yourself. You're still giving yourself love. You're growing yourself. And what you would see, I can guarantee over a certain amount of time, you would meet people. Even if you say, I don't want to meet people, you would still meet people, and you would get at least get a different perception of, wait, when I gave time and really was interested, the conversations were about the class I was taking, about what I was doing, where I was going, and I made friends very easily. You'd see a different perception, is what I'm saying, is what is missing out of your situation, which is probably where the block is. That spirit's like, no, you feel like you need to move again, when really you're just going to bring yourself with you and recreate the same thing as you keep creating. And that's what it is. And you're like, but now I'm really uncomfortable because of what in spirit says it's like it doesn't need to be that way. Change your perception. And I know you would like that answer, but I do know that that's what it is. And if you're going to say, when am I going to leave? I didn't feel until like maybe 5 months. That's what I just felt, because I'm like, spirit's like, she's going to ask when she's going to leave. And it's going to be like, it's not going to be tomorrow, is what I'm saying. So instead of being upset and feeling trapped, it's like, do something with the time, so that you could actually see maybe a different perception. Well, I feel like eventually you'll be able to go to Spain. But as far as right now, it's to like take up the culture, take classes, do again, even though people are like that. And I know that they are. And I know that you're sensitive. So it's like, I don't want to deal with it. And I don't want to deal with it either. I'm a good one to like talk about it, but I'm a highly sensitive person too. I had to force myself to go to a party the other night, and I was 2 hours late and left an hour early. Okay. I went out into my car like 3 times, and it was like, and it's because it's overstimulating. I don't know people. People are not really friendly. I'm a friendly person. I found myself walking aimlessly around the party. However, by the end of the night, I again had a friend. Right. It feels fucking uncomfortable. And I'm telling you, you got to be uncomfortable. And God says healing doesn't feel good. But that's like, again, so how am I supposed to get through it? Well, Spirit says you want to promote your business. You want to be seen with this crowd. And the truth of the matter is, I live in a town. It's a beach town. So, if these people have a party, it's like, it means like only the people that have a good job, that do really well within their craft, go there, because this person doesn't want to be seen with anyone, their real ego. And so Spirit says, you know how it works. And I'm like, I don't like the way it works. And Spirit says, you know how it works. And it's like, it's a grounded thing. So you put on your outfit and you put on the face. But by the end of the night, I had a good time, and I was glad that I went, because again, it said something, and it doesn't say anything to me because I don't give a shit. But then when my phone rings more, well, then I care. And the Spirit says, that's what we're after. And whether or not it's so that we can eat. So that again, that because it's a grounding thing. And that's uncomfortable for me too. I don't want to deal with that. It's uncomfortable. I go over my time even in readings. And Spirit's like, structure, consistency. And God says, I'm going to bring you those two things. Okay, two commercials just came. That's annoying. Okay, well, what I was saying was that that during that time, while between when you move, like when I didn't feel you were going to be able to move for another 5 months. And I said, don't be mad. I said, so you have the option to do something with that time and set yourself up for success, or you can be angry. And so you don't want to be angry, because this is, again, you're unlocking your DNA, and your parents went through life angry. So understand, like, that's what you're breaking. So, because of their situation, their experience. So that's why I'm saying you make lemons out of lemonade. You take your class. Right. And that's why I'm saying you can't wouldn't be able to do that anyway. And that's why I said at least 5 months. But you can do it within 5 months if you again do different things. You have to again, you have to create yourself. And I know that you're like, I'm tired. And spirit says, we know that you're tired. That's why you need to do breath work. You need to do some like somatic healing. I would take there's one on Udemy too. Take somatic healing because you're tired inside your body. And it's because I've been running around stressful trying to figure it out. And spirit says, I know. And that's why I know that's why you want to do that healing so that you can again teach it. And if you don't can't teach it, then talk about it, vlog about it. It's again become yourself, become yourself, become yourself. Utilize what's in your environment. Be like, I'm not the type of person to feel good about then do a podcast. I don't want to be seen. It's okay. Then do it again. Find your way and be consistent. And again, you've learned some things, but it's how much confidence you have. It's how much you're going to put yourself out there and to continual do it. And then I'm telling you, you will meet people. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I left my ex-husband with a baby. And my father had cancer 9 times, and my mother tried to kill me several times. I wrote a book about it, Healing the Effects of Psychic Trauma. And now I have a world business. And trust me, it's like, I know I'm telling you the truth. It's like, yeah, like because I was so overstimulated, I couldn't learn in school. I couldn't stay present long enough to learn in school. So I was an embarrassment because teachers were like, oh, she's lazy, she's this, she's that. And so, like my environment taught me that there was something wrong with me, and I lived from that level of consciousness. So I wasn't a very nice person either. My character wasn't good. It was like I like lived from a survival based consciousness. And so, like I said, if I could heal, anyone can heal. Trust me on that. And it's like they said I'd never make it out of high school. And I wrote 3 books. Now I have to get a proofreader because the guy goes, oh, it looks like one gigantic run on sentence. But nevertheless, I still wrote the book where spirit's like, mastery comes in doing. Mastery comes in doing. And that is one step in front of another where I'm like, okay, but it's things that I would never thought that I could do, where spirit says, well, I dangle the carrot of what you like and what you want. And again, that you could grasp it, but you're gonna have to do these things to get there. And when you do them, you heal yourself. You recondition your nervous system. You recondition the way that you think about yourself. You recondition the way you approach life. You recondition the way that you read people. And you feel like you don't trigger people as much or you just don't give a fuck. Because it's like, well, then that's your problem. You need to heal yourself. It's like because no one should really be able to trigger anyone else. But what's a lot of times if you're doing well and you're feeding yourself, people, like I said, they'll go against you because they're not happy where they are. So you really have to do it. I don't talk to either one of my sisters. And my mother died. I went to her funeral, but I really didn't want to. I'm not going to lie. And it was not healed. And my father, I was there. I took more of my father's side, but my father was an alcoholic, that detached. It was a very codependent relationship, is what they call a karmic contract. And a karmic contract is when you're bound to trauma. You're bound to the trauma that you refuse to learn. So you keep on doing the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. So you keep getting it till you wind up in a connection where you feel like I'm in jail with this person. I can't leave. And so the person tries to detach and they detach by drinking and by escapism. And so that's what he did. That's why he got cancer 9 times. That's why he had 2 hip replacements and upper back surgery, because of the trauma that I refused to heal. And I grew up that way. And then I again formed the same behaviorisms, the same habits, and lived from that level of consciousness. And then I got married, and I every little thing was a trigger. And then what wound up happening was I wound up, I was a hairdresser, became a hairdresser because I made my husband put me to school. I don't know why, because I missed half of it. And then anyway, and went graduated because he told me he would kill me if I didn't graduate. And so what wound up happening was I wound up meeting my husband, and my husband like owned hair salons, and I wound up working for him. And they said, what do we do with her? She makes so much money, but she doesn't know how to cut hair. I was in classes so long, my husband married me, and he owned 9 hair salons. So understand, God made a way where there was no way. I needed to share that part with you, because it was, yes, horrible things, but because I did what I needed to do for me. Like I knew that it was wrong, like to be within this connection, because I felt depleted. Yeah, like I've been through it. That you said your parents were, yeah, your parents were awesome. I don't speak to your brother, so like the no relationship, and I also just feel like the sensitivity. Like my father had good parents too, but he didn't feel good about himself because of his sensitivity. And his sensitivity was that, he was an empathic person. He felt. He was like, really was more of a healer type person. He would have been a great doctor. When everyone was like, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a lawyer. So he became a lawyer, and he was a horrible lawyer. And that's why my father was an empath too. So for someone like you really need to, like, again, learn to like work with your emotions a lot better. Emotional intelligence is really important for you, because it'll help you, but it'll help your clients. And so understand that you're not really in isolation. You're in a different surrounding, and so that you can heal. And again, just focus completely on you right now. And maybe if people were really friendly, you'd be like, fuck it, I'm going out every night. I'm going to the nightlife, and I'm going like this, and I'm having a great time. But Spirit's like, no, I want you here. Right. And that's why I'm saying, but I feel as if um, emotional intelligence is also knowing what you feel, like why people are like, a lot of times as empaths, we weren't allowed to feel growing up, just in the classrooms, not even at home, just life. We don't live in a society that is geared for the right brain. It's, again, we live in a society now that's becoming more right brained, almost too right brained, where before we need that balance, is what I'm trying to say. Right, we weren't heard, and also we were the squeaky wheel. You go into the classroom if it was a little cold, or you couldn't see, whatever it was. It's like we're the one that's gonna say, "Excuse me, can we have?" Because it was uncomfortable for us. It wasn't like one size fits all, but everybody else can kind of like deal with it where we couldn't, and so it's like, "Oh, you're a problem." So then we're seen as, "What am I, a problem?" And that's, and then we feel like we're a problem, and we're really not a problem. We're like overstimulated though. And that's because that we need to do. That's why I said part of the things are for you is to do, because you are a healer and you are going to like do those things. But what you got here today was more things that you just need to do. And part of that is, I think, to learn to how to be in an uncomfortable space, not want to be in that space, and make the best of that space, and still be able to hold your energy up to a place of gratitude, because you're doing what you need to do for you still, so that you could still open up your third eye, so you could see like new opportunities again come in. And that comes from your imagination, and you forget that you're a powerful manifestator if you're a highly sensitive person, which I said about a million times all through this reading. So you're able to go in and out of consciousness easy. So it's the grounding part that's the issue. And so that's why Spirit's saying, I know it's uncomfortable. I know that you don't want to do it, but you have to set yourself up for success and still do it. And you do it in the way that is comfortable for you. I hope that was helpful. Did I answer all your questions? It's funny how this came out, though, unlike DNA, right? So on point. You know, when people are in a relationship, I like to do like a different type of style reading, but I didn't feel like you were in a relationship. Commercial? Is there a commercial again? And I didn't know that there was a commercial. How many fucking commercials are there? It's like I want to be like on HBO where there is no commercials. Like what is this? Is there like did I answer your questions? Did I answer your questions? Because I gotta go. Did I agree? Thank you so much for your. Yeah, well, I feel like that's immature and that has nothing to do with you, but that's because emotionally you're not getting what you need. Again, not because you were deserving of that, but because, again, too much time, again, showed that you cared too much. You'd be like, I barely did fucking anything. And that's because, again, they have big egos. So it's more about giving yourself the time. Someone that wants to be in your life, they're going to make themselves known and they're going to have to work for it a little bit. Someone that comes and invests in your time and believe me, they do it. Understand God says, if that's what you want, you can have it. Trust me. It's just you're like, I don't even know what I want. And what you want is exactly what you're doing. So you do know what you want. You want to heal yourself and get strong within yourself and then attract somebody. But the way that can happen is to be interactive in what you're doing. Share it more. Join things, not because you need to really learn, but again, to be part of a community. Over time, people again warm up. And I would love for you to to come back and tell me how things work out for you. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. I'm going to do another stream shortly, maybe later on tonight. So I hope to see you all on then. All right. Bye.